I'm going to apologize now because this section of the video, I don't know how long it's going to take. You know, if I doubt I can get it done in one clip. There's a lot of ground to cover here. So if this video ends abruptly, it's just because I simply ran out of time. And there might be a few edits along the way because, like I said, there's a lot of ground to cover and I'm just going off the top of my head. I don't have any of this scripted. Okay, so up to this point, my father had died and my sister and I had been moved to Illinois, and my younger brother stayed in California with my aunt and uncle. So the aunt and uncle from Illinois that we moved in with, they were very religious. And this was the first time I had ever heard of any of this stuff. And they weren't just, religious in the, Catholic sense or anything like that. They were Southern Baptist, fire and brimstone, borderline Pentecostal, fundamental Christians. Bible literally true, all that. So we moved in with them. And it was okay at first. It really wasn't bad. It wasn't that big of a shock to the system or anything. It was just, all of a sudden, now there's Jesus. And so we went to church and all this and that. And everything that I had known up to this point, was bad. Like my dad, drank beer. So, and, these people didn't drink beer. Now beer's a sin. Alcohol's a sin. And, a little kid asking questions about Jesus, and you're being told about hell and all this stuff, and pretty soon you start asking, well, wait a minute, my dad didn't go to church. Did he go to heaven? And they'll tell you flat out, no, if he didn't go to church and he drank beer and was a sinner, he's burning in hell right now. And that's like, scares the shit out of you. And so, and you see all the adults around you. If you're at a church in a congregation and they're talking about hell or whatever, and you see people that are adults that are terrified. As a little child, you look around and you see it, and you're terrified too, because it's got to be real, because these people are scared out of their minds about it. And so, that gets ingrained in you early on. And so I had no reason not to believe it. I mean, everybody around me believed this stuff. It was just it was like common knowledge that, God was real, hell was a real place you didn't want to go, you better not sin, blah, blah, blah. So, I'm not real sure, how long we were there before it kind of started being brought up that, we had better be really thankful that we're in the position we're in. That we were almost rescued, so to speak, from the life we had come from. And that, God, Jesus must have had it in the cards or whatever for us to get out of that life and serve Him instead of being sinners like all our relatives in California. And like I said, it was always brought up, and kind of thrown in your face. You're nothing but a little heathen kid, son of a prostitute, an alcoholic father who smoked and drank and whatever. And so, you felt, degraded and bad, and you really wanted to be, good or whatever. So you'd always try to, live like you're supposed to and love Jesus and all this, and, try to be a normal person like everybody else around you was, who wasn't, the son of a prostitute and all this. And so it was, like I said, it didn't seem out of the ordinary. It seemed, that was normal life. And, I didn't know anybody else lived any differently. I just thought that, those people out in California, everybody else I knew, just they were unaware that they were under the influence of the devil. And that's, that's how we, the mentality that we had. Now, me and my sister, and this is the first time we ever had to do any chores and stuff, and which there's nothing wrong with that. But it wasn't long before we started realizing that we were the only ones doing the chores. And that their kids, weren't, employed at the level we were. And it got to the point where, let's take dinner, a normal dinner, for example. They had 3 sons, and then me and my sister, that was 5 kids, plus them 2, so that's 2 adults and 5 kids. And we would sit at at the counter and eat while everybody else sat down to the dinner table and would eat. And it didn't really seem out of the ordinary because, the dinner table's only going to hold so many people. So it was just, we would sit off to the side. And not only did we eat, separately from them, our meal was different from theirs. While everyone would sit down to, pork chops or meatloaf, potatoes, corn, green beans, if a normal meal, we'd be looking at a plate with a bologna sandwich or peanut butter and jelly. And we'd, and I would ask, I'd be like, can I have a pork chop? And, then it would be explained to you that you're a burden on the family and a financial strain, and they can't afford to feed you as well as everybody else. And since peanut butter's a meat substitute and just as good for you, that you should just eat it and be happy about it. But we would begin to notice things like, everybody would eat, and it would be up to me and her to clean everything up and do all the dishes and everything while everybody else went off and watched TV, did whatever they were going to do. And, stuff like that can go on, and pretty soon you ask, you're like, hey, how come we're the only ones doing this? And it's like I said, and it's brought back up. So, hey, you're lucky to be here. You're lucky you've got a roof on your head. You want us to take you to an orphanage? You do these dishes. Okay. And so it just kind of steadily progressed from there to the point of, it's hard to use the term slavery, but when you're a child growing up, and from the moment you get out of bed till the moment you get on the bus to go to school, and the moment you get home till the moment you go to sleep, you're cleaning the house, or you're pulling weeds, or you're mowing the lawn, you're doing something, while you watch the rest of the kids go play. That's what we faced every day, my sister and I. And when I say clean the house, I'm not talking about, just picking up or whatever. I'm talking about when you vacuum the house, you vacuum every room in the house, to the extent that you pull the cushions off the couches, put them into garbage bags to suck the dust out, to collapse them and suck the dust out of them and put them back together every day. It wasn't you just run a vacuum. It was spotless every day. And it was a pretty big house. There was like 2 living rooms in the house. So you had to do all the furniture, dusting, everything. And it was just an everyday procedure every day. You'd get up, you'd start, one end of the house and go until it was time to go to school. And then you go to school, come home, pick up where you left off, and go. And, any downtime or free time I had, like I said, I'd be made to sit down and read the Bible or whatever, and rarely, we'd get to watch hee-haw on TV or something. And if I wanted to go play with my friends, because I had some friends in the neighborhood that I had known from school and stuff. If I wanted to play with them, I'd have to sneak out of the house. I couldn't leave. And you were just constantly under the thumb. It was mainly my aunt. Her husband was kind of just like the whipped type that just went with the flow. It's whatever she said went, and he just kind of stayed out of it. He didn't stick up for nothing. And it was just to the point of just, like I said, I didn't know that other 10-year-old kids didn't have to sit around and give some woman a pedicure every day. And then you couple that with them justifying your treatment with the Bible. So the Bible speaks of slavery. It tells you how to treat your slaves. And they're like, hey, we ain't putting your eye out. Be thankful. And it was, like I said, it was just always thrown up, to me, where I had come from, and it was always used as a point of contention or something that, that I was just lucky to be there in that position, because other kids, didn't get that, and I was always threatened with, I would be sent to an orphanage or something, just all the time.